All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Business Bros. Yeah, we're on the phone. Well, we're on the Zoom call this time. We got a guest who's been an entrepreneur since he was 8 years old. He's done a lot of public speaking. He's doing some coaching. He's doing all kinds of stuff, and he's coming to us from South Carolina. So we got a little bit of a 3-hour time gap, but we're ready to do this thing. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, my man. So,
wait, hang on. That was Tim the Motivator.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Tim the Motivator. I was asking about the motivator thing next too.
There we go.
So tell me, Tim. I mean, I gave a brief little synopsis of your intro, but tell me a little bit about where this whole motivator thing came from. Where'd you just decide that all of a sudden you were going to be doing this since 8 years old? All of a sudden.
Gotcha. All right. Now, of course, I started my first business at 8. The only inspiration then was, hey, I can make money, buy more candy, toys, blah, blah, blah. But, I did it. My first employee was my older sister. I was 8, she was 9. Then I had a best friend named Tito. So I had 2 employees. We had a business. We made money on the Army base, pretty much helping military families move out, clean their trash cans, do yard work, just little tedious stuff. Like I've literally turned my chores into cash. So first business at 8, second one at 10, third one at 12. And then from age 19 to now 38, 12 businesses in 7 different industries. Woo. So I've owned, I owned 2 commercial cleaning franchises, 2 independent janitorial companies, 2 tire shops. The first one I bought off Craigslist in 2014. 2 restaurants, in which I'm pretty sure I was the youngest restaurant owner at 21, second one at 25. I had an event planning company, digital marketing company, lawn care service. So pretty much I'm the epitome of a serial entrepreneur because I never was connected to any individual business. I just love entrepreneurship in general. All right, so as a motivator, I basically motivate people to pursue entrepreneurship.
To get off your butt and take some action, right? That's what it's about. Well, I mean, let's hover on there because 22 businesses is a lot. Like, I mean, people have a hard time doing one business, much less going into a number of different industries. So tell me a little bit about when you get into a business. Is this something that you decide I'm going to do a business? You know what? I'm going to mow lawns, and you go out there and grab the lawnmower and mow all the lawns yourself. I mean, how is that even possible?
All right. Now, good question. Now, all right, just say serial entrepreneur, like everyone can be an entrepreneur. Certain people with, attention to detail, work ethic, can master the skill of outsourcing, can be successful serial entrepreneurs. So just say the books that helped me out the most was Think and Grow Rich and Rich Dad Poor Dad. In Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki breaks down the cash flow quadrant, basically explaining the difference between self-employed and a business owner, which is, all right, self-employed is, all right, I got a lawnmower, weed eater, and I'm doing the work. You flip the word, it just says employ self, all right? Versus having a business or being in a business ownership situation where you have employees, you subcontract, you hire, all right? So once I learned the difference between self-employed and business owner, I literally went from $9,000 a month to over $40,000. And I stopped trying to do the work, and then I focused on hiring and outsourcing. So that's really the key to doing multiple businesses is you got to know how to hire people.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I love that you went to the Kiyosaki because he was one of my very first books I've ever read. I always tell people that I made it through high school, got a pretty close to a 4.0 GPA, never reading the book except for Of Mice and Men because we read it out loud in class. But when I decided to personally, develop myself, Kiyosaki was one of the first books I picked up, the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. And the cash flow quadrant was like eye-opening.
Life-changing.
Life-changing. I mean, you're literally looking at the world in 2 different quadrants, or 4 different quadrants, but really it's 2 different sides. You're looking at the one side where you're just, you're either working for somebody or you created your own job, or you're on the other side where you're investing your money, making your money work for you, or you have people and resources working in your favor. So
absolutely,
you've mastered that side of it, and you started to outsource a lot of the stuff that you've been working on. You started to outsource the jobs, the management of people. What types of struggles did you come across in the management field? Because I know from personal experience, one of the most blessing part and the most difficult part in a business is bringing on other people. Managing
Absolutely.
adult personalities is tough. So what kind of stuff share with me about managing people?
Okay, one of my number one rules to hiring is I never hire somebody I'm going to have a problem firing. So whether it's they're physically intimidating, they're, emotional, however, I don't hire anyone I'm going to have a problem firing. So whether it's family members, friends, new people that you don't meet. So I usually kind of give them a pretty elaborate screening process. Of course, the natural stuff, make sure they have valid driver's license, can pass a background check, drug check. They got experience in the industry that you're hiring them. But ultimately, I don't hire anyone I'm going to have a problem firing.
That's good advice. I actually, that's good advice because I know I used to own a cleaning company, and one of the first, I built it because my in-laws needed some extra work and I needed offices clean. So I made a perfect match. I was like, I'm just going to start a company and do it myself, and hired it out. And I had that I don't want to say it's a mistake because it was good at the time. But we did end up hiring family, and that is tough when you get in a situation where you're trying to critique what they're doing, where you're trying to tell them what to do in a certain way. It gets a little difficult. And then, of course, if you ever had to fire them, that would be really awkward.
Man, I have some stories about that too. So, yeah, you're right. Like I had an uncle. All right, this was Memorial weekend. So it was a 4-day weekend. He basically took Tuesday off. So I called him and was like, hey, don't worry about coming back. Like if you can't respect me enough to call it, like it was a no-call, no-show after a 4-day weekend. So I had to fire him, and he didn't talk to me for like 2 years. But I'm like, hey, if you don't respect me enough to at least send a text, hey, nephew, I ain't gonna make it. I can't deal with that.
Yeah, it's a business, right? We're out there it's not only the income that you're generating, it's the respect for the client that you have. You didn't show up to a job that, had clientele that they were expecting. They don't care whether the person's related to you or not. They expect the job to be done, and it was your job to get it done, and you did it.
That's it. That absolutely it. I mean, anywhere else, any other type of employment, no call, no show would render a fire. So it's like, hey, I'm consistent with that. Like, no call, no show, I can't work with.
All right, so 22 businesses. I want to know how you evaluate something. If somebody comes up to you, because once you've been in this space for a while, for example, I know almost on a regular basis, I get people coming up to me and saying, you know what, I want to flip houses. I want to start my own business. I want to invest. I get that kind of question all the time. Very vague, very, no real structure to it. When somebody comes up to you and says, I got a business I think you should be a part of, how do you go about evaluating whether it's something you want to do or not?
Great. Another great question. All right. So the majority of my businesses were profit-based, meaning it had no passion attached to it. So the 2 restaurants, I can't cook to this day. It was all optimism. Like, hey, look, it's for rent. I can, renovate it, make money. That's what I did. Same thing with my 4 cleaning companies. I don't know too many people passionate about cleaning, more or less stripping and waxing 30,000 square feet. So it was just profit-based. So I just recently got into my passion-based businesses, which is my coaching agency, and then I have a Global Youth Entrepreneurship Academy. So I usually gauge them based on 2 things. Is it profit-based or is it passion-based? Then from there, just like any other business person, you're going to look at, all right, what's going to be the amount of time and investment that I'm going to put into it versus the return on that investment. And then from there, you gauge whether, okay, this is something I can do or not really. Now, network marketing, I automatically turn all those offers down just because I believe in putting that energy into my own organic business versus something that I can't change the name or the logo for.
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that one. Although I tell people when they're first getting started, I think network marketing is a great place to start to get your feet wet. There's a system. It's a business in a box. You really just develop your skills as a salesperson, develop your presentation skills, and then, later you can move on. It's not the career that you want to do, but it's a good starting point, right? It's a good.
Yeah, I agree.
Somebody's getting started.
I would say for people that have the work ethic and the passion, I would say, hey, look, put your energy into your own organic thing. But like just say, if you're just looking for a side business, extra income, network marketing, franchise model, where they already have a system in place. That's my 1-year-old in the back. I hope
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for some people it does work.
Yeah, for some people it does work. So, okay, so let's go back to the difference between your passion and your profit-driven businesses, right? So on your profit-driven businesses, are you taking an investment approach when you come into them? Are you just buying, like stock option into these things and kind of restructuring what's going on in there, maybe implementing systems, or are you coming in and owner operating?
Yeah, actually, what I do is, all right, just say at age 22, I acquired a lawn care service out of the paper. So we basically bought it, added, changed the name, and then added new clients as we were doing the work. Now, at that point, I didn't really apply Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, so I was more so self-employed. All right, then 2008, I bought an existing restaurant cleaning business. All right, I thought it was turnkey, because they had employees, had equipment. However, after I fired my boss and basically, pretty much quit my job, after I did my notice and all that, that business wasn't as turnkey as I thought it was because the employees wasn't showing up. So I actually had to make a decision where, like, I got a call from one of the general managers. He was like, hey, look, they're not showing up. Either you make something happen or you lose the contract. Mind you, I had just left my job, company salary, car, bonus, all that. So what ended up happening was I had to make a decision, all right, relax and lose the business or move down there and save it. So I moved from Columbia to Savannah. I lived in my car at the truck stop for 60 days because with restaurant cleaning, it was net 60 to in process. So I waited 60 days to collect my first check. And I was living at the truck stop at the Savannah, Georgia state line. Pretty much eating off the dollar menu because I had spent thousands of dollars to buy the business and didn't expect to come down there. So ideally, yeah, you want a turnkey business when you're acquiring one, whether it's equipment, the system, and the employees versus, you have to come in, you still got to hire new people, and just kind of do everything from scratch minus, the clients they already have and equipment. So just say by the time I got to buy my first tire shop, which I bought in 2014, they had a shop manager, they had employees, they had equipment. That was more turnkey. So I just kind of went in, did a little more marketing, advertising, strategic planning, kept the ball rolling, kept it all the way to last year, and then I sold it to actually the guy that was just a $25 a day worker when I bought it. I was able to promote him to shop manager, and then now he owns it.
So and that's an awesome deal though. I mean, think about that. That guy probably was instrumental in helping you develop the systems in that place. Was probably the guy who you put in charge of running said systems. So for him, it was a natural progression. He had a vested interest. He loved the fact that the system was running the way that you guys developed it together, and it was an opportunity for him to have something of his own, and you to have an exit strategy. So
Absolutely.
That's a great story there. Now, if we're going to transition from the profit to the passion, right? Before we do that, I'm starting to notice that when we talked about these two businesses, you've switched from operations to becoming a marketer, to becoming the driving the sales factor. So now I'm thinking, as you're going to transition to the passion business and your experience in the businesses that you've purchased and created in the past, you've noticed that your forte is probably going to be somewhere in generating that revenue or generating that lead processing. Am I right?
Absolutely. So just say to go from self-employed to business owner, all right, first of all, you got to stop doing the work, but the work you would do would be sales, marketing, lead generation. Because, all right, just say the income or leads that convert to sales, that's what's going to allow you to hire more people, buy more equipment, stay in business. So just say that's why it's harder for people to go from self-employed to business owner, because they get stuck in the business wearing all the hats and they don't have no time to sell. So when I made the conversion, I focused my time on sales, generating leads, closing contracts, and that's what made the difference. And I was able to do that. Like I was running a 26 employee cleaning company, had contracts in 3 states, 12 counties, had a 2-man tire shop and a digital marketing company only working about 15 hours a week from my condo. So I automated all 3 businesses, and the work I was doing was lead generation, sales, and marketing. So yeah, you're right.
Dude, all right. So you take those skills that you've developed. You've become efficient in sales and marketing. You've become efficient in lead generation, that sort of stuff. And now you're going to dive into your passion. Like, what kind of difference is that going from buying a business and developing a system to figuring out, look, this is what I really like to do. I really like to sit down and talk to people. I really like to help them get started. I really want to show them not to step in the same holes that I stepped in, not to make the same mistakes that I made, like, and turn that into a business. How did that transition happen?
Great question. So about 3 years ago, I had a spiritual evolution, and it was more like me and God, the universe, however you refer to it, talking, and it was more like, okay, what do you want to be remembered as? The rich, service-based business owner, or do you want to be remembered as somebody that changed the world? So once I answered that question, it definitely wasn't a tire shop guy, definitely wasn't a rich cleaning guy. So I was like, okay, now it's time to focus on what I'm really passionate about, which is helping other people manifest their dreams, plus teaching the youth entrepreneurship. So I created those 2 entities. I created a coaching and consulting agency, and then my entrepreneurship academy, which allows me to change the world through entrepreneurship. So just like billionaire owner of Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban, said, business and entrepreneurship is the ultimate sport. So now I brand business and entrepreneurship as a sport to kids and to parents. That way they're more competitive in something that matters, like entrepreneurship and politics. That's the sports that we should be playing in this real life game of Monopoly called life or reality. You know, because the object is wealth generation, buy businesses, start businesses, buy land, buy homes, and stay out of jail. So it's a real life game of Monopoly. You know, it's just most people ain't playing it right. So in order to monetize it, I basically went through the learning curve of coaching and consulting. And I'm not sure if he's from the Bay Area, Too Short. All right, so rapper Too Short, his philosophy, and I'm going to tell you this, he says, the game is to be sold, not told. That philosophy created my whole coaching and consulting agency. So it's like, okay, I used to just tell people how to start this business, how to make a business plan. Now they pay for that same information because I packaged it in ebooks, courses, coaching plan, and one-on-one sessions, group sessions. So I basically converted all my information to either digital products, physical products, or consultation calls, and that's how I monetize basically my passion.
How are you getting your information out there? What's the best advice you can give to anybody who's getting started in, maybe it's public speaking, maybe they want to do an e-course, maybe they want, they want to go into, educating youth. What do you say to someone who's just getting started in that realm to get them, moving in the right direction? Is it,
Gotcha.
I've heard a number of things, do it for free. I've heard, you should package it and just charge for it. I heard maybe you should use ClickFunnels. Like, what do you recommend? What's been your path?
Gotcha. I would definitely say Nike has the best slogan ever created. Just do it. So, all right, just do it. Then you apply the action. All right, social media is the biggest platform, period. So, all right, between Facebook, LinkedIn, IG, Snapchat. Sorry. Every day is 2 billion people online. Sorry, it's 7 billion people in the world. Every day, 2 billion people online. So the fastest way to start would basically be start on social media. It's going to be cheaper, like more cost effective, and you're actually speaking to an audience. Now, the key would be knowing your target market and adding those people on your platforms. That way, when you speak, it resonates with the people that should hear it. Versus you make a comment for social media engagement, you don't get any likes or comments, you might be speaking to the wrong people. So just depending on what your niche is, you add those people as far as the age demographic, gender demographic, income, race, whatever is going to classify them for your target market. You add as many of them as you can each day. That way they'll be more receptive to what you got to say. So I would say definitely social media. Now you got apps like Canva. You can create a free flyer, brochure, and then you basically engage daily. Now you don't sell. You basically add storylines. You find funny memes, relevant videos, articles, and then you brand yourself unconsciously as an expert in that field, then it's easier to monetize because people will be like, oh yeah, that's the guy that talks about cutting grass. We see the pictures. He talks about it in his posts. We see the articles. Now they're looking at you like the lawn care expert. And then you, from there, you just put a price on your service and you pitch it.
How much time are you spending online, and what's your favorite social media platform that you're using today? I mean, as far as for your motivational speaking, your coaching, and the youth group.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, LinkedIn has about 550 million members. So at LinkedIn, that's what I use for like commercial cleaning prospects or to generate leads for that, coaching, speaking engagements. LinkedIn is the monster because see, they were already primed for business and careers. All right. Facebook is still more social media keyword, meaning fun, games, and entertainment. So I'll get some, coaching clients off of there, some aspiring entrepreneurs. I'll convert them to business coaching clients. But ultimately, it's knowing the difference between social media meaning fun, games, and entertainment, and social networking. Networking keyword meaning your network determines your net worth. So when you mix that, knowing that with your target market, then that means, okay, the people on your page really can increase your net worth if you look at it as social networking versus social media. So I spend a lot of time on between LinkedIn, Facebook. Sorry, LinkedIn, I got about 18,000 friends. Facebook, 2 pages maxed out, 1 page with about 2,000, and then 2 IG pages. So what I usually do is whatever I post on one platform, I copy and paste and put it on the other platform. So I try to do about 5 to 10 posts every day on all 3 platforms.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, but it pays off though. It pays off.
Yeah. No.
But it's the free way other than advertising. We'll say that. That's the free way.
Yeah. That was gonna be my next question. On the platforms that you're using, are you using any paid ad type stuff? I know LinkedIn is like hot right now as far as the reach
LinkedIn
that
Navigator.
Yeah, with the reach that you get, I mean, just natural reach that you get in LinkedIn is pretty hot. It'll probably change as time goes on, but as far as using strategic ad placement, Instagram, YouTube, Google, that's a strategy that many people use. Are you using any of those paid marketing tactics?
Man, to be honest, I've only did 1 paid advertisement online, and that was like a $50 Facebook ad that I did terrible at, so they don't even count. So I've been able to build multiple 6-figure companies online or using social media, but I'm very aggressive. So I just say when I coach my clients on building their platforms and monetizing them and optimizing them, I tell them add 25 to 50 of your target market friends every single day. So eventually you basically create your own lead generation pool. And then as you're engaging them, then you get the inboxes. Hey, can I get a quote? Hey, how much you charge? And so you can do it organically. You just have to be intentional and aggressive.
So tell me what you mean by engaging them. Like everybody has a different meaning of what that means. What does it mean to you when you coach your client? You tell them you need to engage your audience. What are you really telling them?
Gotcha. Engage to me is basically you communicating your message without sell. So just say, all right, for business coaching clients, I'll just to attract them, I'll just tell my entrepreneur stories, or I'll post testimonies of results I got because people love testimonies. I'll create memes on Canva, like funny memes. Like I'll take funny clips from different movies, TV shows, and then I'll add what I really want to say. And then I'll kind of use that to kind of mix up the content. Every now and then I'll share videos. Like I might share E40 or Master P video where they're talking about entrepreneurship, and then I'll add my own perspective on top of that. So I like engage, meaning post something that speaks on what you want people to know you as. So if you want people to know you as a podcaster, all right, you're going to talk about podcasting. You're going to talk about the interviews you got coming up. Like you're going to engage them based on what do you want ingrained in their mind.
Mm-hmm. How much time are you spending communicating via DMs or in the feeds, like talking, commenting on other people's posts?
No, that's another good question. Look, you must listen to Gary Vee.
Oh, of course. Oh, I
Okay,
like Gary
nah,
Vee.
yeah, I like Gary Vee. All right, so what I do, all right, just say, all right, once you add your target market, so just say if you're adding 25 to 50 people in your target market daily, all right, then what you want to do is create an elevator pitch that you can copy and paste, like an intro elevator pitch. So mine goes something like, hey, my name is Timothy Simpson. Thank you for connecting with me. I'm a serial entrepreneur, business coach. I've owned 12 businesses in 7 different industries, made over $3 million, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of give them, because remember, you got the know, like, and trust factor. All right. So it's only a connection when you make the connection. So I add them. And then once I see they're added, I send my elevator pitch, basically telling them who I am so they can know, like, and trust me. Right. And then depending on what type of prospect it is, I'll ask a straightforward question to generate a response. So just say, if it's a cleaning prospect, I'll say, I'll give my elevator pitch based on my cleaning background. And then I'll say, are you currently happy or satisfied with the cleaning company that you use? If they say no, my response is, all right, when can I do a free quote for you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I copy and paste that. Just say the day before, if I added all medical offices, I'll literally go back and send a copy and paste message to all 25 or 50 of them.
Oh, I think I lost your audio. You still there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, okay, cool. No worries. Yeah, it's what happens when you go across the U.S. It cuts out there for a second. So yeah, so you're sending the messages after they've accepted the friend request, follow, whatever it's going to be, but to actually reach out and engage and communicate with them. So I got a pretty much one last question for you. You've done a lot over your career, right? And I'm assuming you have a vision of what the end game looks like for you. So, how do you define success? What does success look like for you?
Gotcha. I like that. I'm going to use Andrew Carnegie's quote. Like, he was at one point the richest man in the world. All right. He said, I'm going to spend the first 50 years accumulating wealth, and then I'm going to spend the next 50 years giving it away. So I'm basically going to do the same thing. So I'm going to accumulate wealth, and then I'll give it away in the form of trade schools, business incubators, think tanks, libraries, community development. So basically, I'll transform into a philanthropist full time.
Beautiful. I mean, that at least gives life purpose, right? It gives it meaning,
Absolutely.
something to do. All right, I got one more little segment that we do on the show. It's called Astha Bros. Normally, you have two bros. The other bro's here. You didn't give us something, but you can hear him. So feel free to ask us any questions you like. I mean, you've already shared a ton of what your story was. So I always open it up and see if you have any questions for us.
All right. Yeah. All right. What have y'all ever interviewed any rappers like in that area, like Nipsey Hussle, E40, the rappers that are entrepreneurs?
I have not. So if you know any in my area, I'd love to. I've interviewed a kid that was because I teach high school. I teach a course called financial algebra. So I have some seniors that they end up graduating, and I've interviewed like an aspiring rapper, but nobody of notoriety yet. I'm just not networked in that area. But I'd love to sit down and talk to anybody about what's going on in that industry and get an idea of, because it's the same game, yet it's different, right? Their mentality is a little bit different, and what they do in life, the way they express themselves through music, is like powerful. I mean, it's huge.
Absolutely.
Music adds a dimension to life that, I mean, can take you up and down in the same song. So, like, I'd definitely love to hear if you know of anybody in this area that I could interview. I'd love to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Nipsey Hussle would have been a great one. Like So I was actually looking forward to coming to California to speak with him. Then, unfortunately, he got assassinated or whatnot. But he really got it. When it comes to entrepreneurship, like he was on a new wave. Like I'm at the Smart Store. He had the incubator. He was developing something in Las Vegas. Like he would have been perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a big topic conversation when he passed, and you could just tell that he's touched a lot of people through either music or just because of the person that he was.
Absolutely.
And you know, I used to have a Tupac line on my profile. He said, "I may not change the world. I may not be the person who changed the world, but I can inspire the person. I know I'm going to inspire the mind of the person who will." And that's kind of, I love that message. I like that thought that, you know, I'm trying to spread people's stories, because you never know if the message that came on today or that came on last time or the, you know, in the future is going to just spark the mind of the person who's really going to make a difference in this world.
Absolutely. That's actually one of my favorite quotes from Tupac. And it just shows the level of consciousness he had. It was like he was a humanitarian. Like, he understood his power and his reach. And, you know, for the most part, he was pretty responsible with it. Like, he put a lot of it encoded in his songs, you know.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, Tim, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. I know you had the kids in the background there, but you did well getting through it, brother. You did well getting through it.
Look, you're right. Look, no excuses. Like, I didn't, you know, had the kids, college, and the job, and still, you know, embrace entrepreneurship. So that's a standing message. So that would be my closing message. No excuses. Like, whatever your situation, circumstances is somebody going through that or worse, and they're still getting it done.
Oh, 100%. We all have abilities, right? I love watching Marvel and stuff like that, because everybody has, you know, X-Men, they all have abilities. We all have abilities too. We could be a liability. We can be accountability. We have the accountability to ourselves. We have the capability. We have the responsibility. We have our own abilities. So we're going to make it happen one way or another, or we're not going to make it happen. It's completely up to us.
That's it.
100% choice in our corner. So, hey man, real quick. How do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you, do business with you, or get a hold of your courses?
Okay. For speaking, booking and speaking is timthemotivator.com. My email, timthemotivator@gmail.com. My coaching site is businesscoachtim.com. Most of my Facebooks, you can find me Timothy Simpson or Tim the Motivator. I do normally give out my number, so to reach me directly is 803-261-5948. Once again, that's 803-261-5948.
Awesome. Thanks a lot again for coming on the show. I know it's a different time over there on the East Coast, so I really, really appreciate you hopping on.
All right. Thanks for having me, man. Hey, y'all take it easy too, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Appreciate it.